Good morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids and cubs, and welcome to season 5. And I do have to take a look this morning. And I will guess episode number 745, yes, of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. Always 100% Canadian. Today, recording day is Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. And it's looking a little grayish here at the Beaver Lodge, but the sun might be trying to make an effort. Can't really tell right now, to be totally honest. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, hey. And not with me, as usual, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Misfit Mysteries from Corbin Moon Publishing, and PsychicTarot.ca. And by the way, kids and cubs, I've been wanting to mention it on the last 2 shows this week, but keep on forgetting. But we didn't have a chance to publicize it too much, but last Friday, for those of you who missed it, Mr. Grizzly did a bonus beaver show. Guess we could call it a bonus grizzly show, really. But did a bonus beaver show, and I was not available, unfortunately, because I was in transit between 2 cities at the time he went on. So if you missed it, he has some thoughts about Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump, and Jimmy Kimmel, and all that kind of stuff to express there. Yeah, if you missed your grizzly and you missed your grizzly time, just look back a couple of days there in a couple of episodes in on our YouTube channel, and you will find Mr. Grizzly there to share some thoughts with you. So we just wanted to make sure that got that information out, and also as well, kids and cubs. Our good friend Kit Hugh has also launched his podcast. Something he's been promising for some time now, and we're very, very happy that he has. And hopefully he will be in the chat so that you can ask him a little bit more about it. Because at the moment, I thought I had it brought up in front of me, and I do not. So I could tell you more about it. But yes, yeah, he says I made him do it. I don't know how much arm twisting I did in this, but I'm happy to have been a muse here. He says he calls it Hugh of the Borg. So he calls it the Borgcast Episode 1. And in Episode 1, I touch on the legacy of Kirk, Canadian-American retaliations, Canada's Gripen F-35 decision, subs, and what might likely happen in the near future. So there you go, kits and cubs. This is going to be, because I know that you love Kit Hugh. He's a fan favorite when we have him on the show, and I've been telling them for some time now that he really does need to start making his own stuff and bringing his knowledge. So I am very happy that he has indeed done this. And here we go, kids and cubs, to post the link right here. There you go. And then you could check it out and see Kit Linda has already looked at it and said, Hugh did a great job with this first show, insightful and informative. Well, that was not a mystery. Of course it would be. Yeah, Kit Argosia goes, Hugh has a podcast just started. So there you go, the Bork cast. Yep, great start, Trek reference, all that good stuff. And, like I said, if you've seen him on our show, that he is a wealth of knowledge. And I'm sure he's going to be bringing it regularly. And of course, that doesn't mean we will stop having our friend on the show at regular basis. But congratulations to you. I feel like a proud beaver mama, and I've just given birth. I don't know if Hugh considers it this way, but we officially consider it the first new show of the Eager Beaver Network, if there was to be a Eager Beaver Network. But we are happy that our kids and cubs are taking initiatives and bringing their own insight, because I keep on saying to you, right? You are influencers in your own circles. And well, Hugh decided to take the plunge. So congratulations, wishing you much success. And we are here to support and help promote in any way that we can, mon frère. All right. So yeah, lots of news here at the Beaver Lodge, lots of stuff going on. Um, all right. How is your mental health doing today, kids and cubs? Mine is doing well, I have to say. Number one, I do now officially, I can declare after Lord knows how many years, I don't know how many exactly now, but it has to be more than 15. I finally have a family doctor. Had my meet and greet appointment with him yesterday, talked a little bit, got to know each other. Looks like a relationship that could work, has some potential. As I was leaving, I said, congratulations, you have a new family doctor. And I went outside and signed the forms to send to the government of Ontario, saying that I'm being onboarded officially. And I've got a first slate of tests, blood work, and all that other stuff to do all the basic stuff that hasn't been done for a long time, because, uh, I did cross 50. So, all the things that you're supposed to start getting checked for regularly after 40 and 50, not much of that has happened, other than the colonoscopy thing that you're supposed to do that comes automatically. So yeah, we're going to do the full blood, the full workup, check out the cholesterol and the sugar, and hopefully the liver enzymes and thyroid and all that kind of stuff, to see how things are going. And yeah, we'll go from there. But I have a doctor, and he's young. So, not that I'm saying he's young because I have anything against old doctors. I do not. It's just hopefully he's young, so therefore I get to keep him for a while. Oh man. All right. So yeah, that it was good news. And sorry for the late start today. Um, I have um, I have no excuse, but I have a good explanation. I decided yesterday that I was going to be a good beaver sweetie. My beaver sweetie likes to play volleyball with a group here and a group of our friends. And when I came to Kingston, I would join them regularly on Wednesday nights when they had their volleyball nights. On Tuesday nights when they had their volleyball nights, and then it changed to Wednesday, which conflicted, with choir and curling and often show rehearsals and stuff. And they've gone back to Tuesdays, which does conflict with curling, but like only 2 weeks out of three. So, I can go now and then, but curling doesn't start till October 9th, and volleyball has already started, so I can go. And my beaver sweetie has been wanting me to go play volleyball because, he likes that when we have activities that we can do together. But given that I've taken up this podcast, volleyball starts around 7:30 and finishes at 9:30, and then everybody goes out for a social and then comes back. And that means there's no time to prepare a show, and I get to bed way past 10:30, which is what I usually try to aim for, to be up and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. So, yes, given that I wanted to make my beaver sweetie happy, I did indeed go play volleyball and hang out with the team. But that means that I didn't get to bed until well past 1 o'clock in the morning. And the alarm rang very quickly. So I needed a couple of extra minutes well, I'm afraid to say that this doesn't just happen anymore. I don't just roll out of bed and look like this anymore. So it takes a little work sometimes getting these down, making sure that my bags are carry-on size. So yes, I needed a couple of extra minutes this morning. So I do thank you for your indulgence, and so does my beaver sweetie, because he was extremely happy that I was able to make time, make effort, and not just say, "Oh, I'm tired, I'm staying in." So thank you, kits and cubs. You have helped my relationship with your kindness and understanding. All right, let's do the magic monitor thing and let's see who's with us because you have been chatty this morning. Kit Elaine first in saying good morning, everyone. Also, Kit Uncover saying morning, and Kit Grace as well. Hyper T 007 with Bom dia, gente. I think. ¿Cómo estão todos hoje? Because I was told that the J was pronounced more like a G. So hog, maybe. Hog. You let me know how I did on that one. But the bom dia gente. I think I've got that one down now. I'm just not sure about the rest. Keep switching it up on me. That's good. Keeps me on my toes. Grace talking about the PM here at the UN. Loved him. Proud of the PM. That seems to be a general consensus here, that a lot of people have been seeing him in action and are very proud of how he's been handling himself and representing the nation. We have Kit Cassie Lake here saying, "Good day, good people." And good day to you and the cowboy, Kit Cassie. So glad you're here. Kit Bucky saying good morning, all. Good morning to you. We have Kit Swanky Frankie here also saying morning. And then, yes, Kit PNC Bio talking about Trump's new stance on Ukraine is what everybody's talking. It isn't what everybody's making it out to be. He's been on the same thing for a while. He thinks all the money is going to go to the U.S. weapons manufacturers. Yes, that is indeed true. That's what he thinks. But like I said, we'll talk about it here on the show later on. A distinct change in the rhetoric, however, taken place. But yes, that's why we put in the show description, but we'll believe it when it lasts. Because he does a lot of things for the current nanosecond, and not everything has the required follow through. Let's just put it that way. Kit Nona Carole, I was tripping between French and English here, saying good morning and good morning to you. I think, Kit Elaine, you were mentioning yesterday that there were people that you care, little ones that you care about a lot, that had a birthday yesterday and one coming up soon, 3 and 5. So happy birthday from the Beaver Lodge to them. I hope that their birthdays are fabulous. Who else do we have here in the chat with us this morning? We have Kit Mohan and family. Good morning to all of you. Hope you are doing well today. Who else do we have in the chat? Just scrolling down. Kit Taffy G is here saying hello. Yes. Did you see all the acts of violence that Fox called for because of the escalator buffoons? And now it seems that I read a little something saying that they think it might have been a cameraman or something, or somebody who was filming stuff for Trump like this that may have hit the button by accident. But yeah, and then there's all the requisite jokes of, why didn't the escalator stop when he was coming down it all those years ago? Maybe that would have changed a few things. You never know. You never know. That might have indeed happened. the escalator going down didn't work, and then that becomes the big story rather than the launch, and everybody laughs at him, and nobody takes him seriously, and that's the end of him. Alternate universes. Just think of it. The escalator stops. Everybody laughs at him. No President Trump. It's a wonderful thought, isn't it? But alas, that's not what we got. So let's keep going here through the chat. I think I've got everybody. Kit Argosy Acres saying, "Good morning. I'm late. Not too late to get hello. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us." And keep going. Kit playing with 3D is with us this morning. Hey, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Breens are here as well. Good morning to both of you. Uh, yeah. Kit Jenny is here saying good morning, everyone, as well. Good morning to you. Yes, 25,300 subs now, subscribers. Thanks to everyone who's joining. This is absolutely fantastic. We've never grown this fast, but it's been consistently 200 and sometimes 300 new listeners a day for a couple of weeks now. So I'm figuring Mr. Grizzly must have done an advertising push because we normally don't organically get that many new subscribers that quickly unless there's an advertising push going on. But if it is, he sure picked the right time and the right place and the right thing to promote. That's for sure. Let's see, who else do we have? Is that everyone? No, Kit Jillian here saying good morning. And I think, oh, Kit Crystal, hello. Good morning to you. Kit Kat is with us as well, saying morning all. Miss is here as well. Good morning, Kit Miss. Jazzy is still sleeping. Okay, we won't talk too loud so as to not wake her up. And I think I have everybody this morning. Just going through the rest of the chat. Wow, you are really have going at it this morning, Kits and Cubs. Yes, there we go. And Kit Hyper T007 reporting that the show's Discord channel, which we have nothing to do with, that's completely organic, started by the DAMFAM and run by the DAMFAM and all of that, which we find extremely flattering, that you love to keep the conversation going and that you love to keep the chat going and socialize amongst yourselves when we are not here. So that's I like it that you've created your own little corner that you can keep the good vibes going. And every now and then I drop in a little bit to say hello. And everybody is always very, very, very kind and wonderful. It's a similar vibe to right here. So if you want to keep the good feelings going and you're in the chat, ask about it. And I'm sure that the good people there will make sure that you can find your way there as well. Okay, Kits and Cubs. Well, you are also, I might add, literally having breakfast with the beaver. I got my bowl of cornflakes with raisins in there and enjoying those when we're going to have some video clips. All right. Let's see. Well, let's start with the big stuff. Yesterday, I was just about to go and play tennis, and about 45 minutes before I left, news of a press conference that Donald Trump had, in which he said some things that were that would make you pay attention. I think would be the best way to say it. Um, but yes, that definitely caught my attention, caught the attention of a lot of people, in which Donald Trump appeared to have wholesale changed his rhetoric on Vladimir Putin. Now, on previous show, we were talking about President Zelensky's shifted strategy because, as you know, there was that really terrible, awful office meeting during which Donald Trump, sitting next to President Zelensky, um, did a merciless humiliation hatchet job on him for the whole world to see. And then Zelensky showed up with a different approach following that. And in that approach, we were wondering if there was something that we could learn from him as well in our dealings with Trump. But Zelensky repeatedly showing up for everything, um, wanting to play ball on some of the suggestions that Donald Trump was making, either with regard to critical minerals or any other type of thing, wanting to have, talks. Sure, I'll have talks. Sure, I'll show up for the talks. Sure, I'll be there. Sure, I'll be willing to discuss critical minerals. Sure, I'll be able. And uh, while Vladimir Putin wouldn't show up most of the time, kept making promises that he would break, all that type of stuff. We got lots of talk about Donald Trump every now and then saying that he's not happy. We got Donald Trump giving a lot of ultimatums and setting deadlines that he would blow right past. Then we had the whole Putin and Alaska thing, and then which ended up being a huge embarrassment for Trump because he basically got nothing uh, out of that, other than some TV time moment, looking like he was like this sort of uh, great diplomat type thing. But I mean, those who knew better, right? So that was for domestic consumption, pretty much only. Um, and you know, Putin just going back to doing what he always did, and everybody wondering, uh, at that point, because we had Olga Nestorova on the channel with us, and just saying like, her confirming, right, that not much came of this. Um, and then yesterday, I saw a tweet of an alleged truth, or whatever it is that he calls his posts that he puts on his own social media uh, network site. And I am reading this, and it doesn't sound anything like we've heard from Donald Trump beforehand. And my first question was, is this real? Because, on social media, there are a lot of um, tweets where people will take the visuals of someone's platform, but then put their own words as the texted or as the post itself, and then circulate it as if that person posted it, or hacks. Right? We saw that recently with the Charlie Kirk thing, where you had like a bill. Um, Billy D. Williams, I think it is, and Mick Jagger and Christian Chenoweth and Selma Blair's accounts all tweeting uh, stuff in support of Charlie Kirk. And then we found out like 3 days later that Billy D. Williams' account had been like completely hacked, and he was trying to get that fixed. And it took Facebook 3 days to get it done. So, but other people will just like take a tweet, and just with the editing software, just edit the words out and then put their own words in there, right? And sometimes those tweets circulate. It says, "Oh my God, I can't believe they said that." Well, you can't believe they said that because they didn't actually. So I was wondering if it was one of these types of things with Donald Trump. And then I saw a second one that was longer because the first one had been cut. Um, and all the stuff said the same thing at the top, and then there was more. And then I'm thinking, like, I need to go see what this is. And then I saw the video clip, and it is not ridiculously long. It's 16 minutes. Um, and they're having this bilateral meeting where they're sitting side by side again in front of the cameras, just as was the case in the Oval Office, but this time with the Ukrainian and the American flags behind them, rather than um, gold-plated decorative vomit. Seriously, that place is gaudy now. Um, gold-leafed, I should say, rather than gold-plated. And sure enough, he's sitting right next to Zelensky, and it starts off relatively normal. And then at some point, he's asked a question, and he just starts tearing into Vladimir Putin in a way that we have not seen him do before, in a way very similar. to the Trump Elon divorce breakup. When we saw that, we go, "Ooh, is this marriage in trouble? Are mommy and daddy fighting?" Um, well, I have never heard Trump speak like this about Putin, about the war, about everything, about Ukraine. It looks like now, if this lasts, if this isn't just a one-time tantrum to because he likes Big Daddy Vlad so much, and is as the saying goes, there's nothing more sad than yeah, let's try that again. There's nothing more sad than a neglected attention whore. And well, the, Donald Trump is not getting the same type of attention from his words that normally praise Putin as he has before. And uh, Putin has been making Trump look bad in that Trump keeps on saying that he has this wonderful relationship with him and, that, and suggesting clearly that he has some sway and that Putin keeps on showing that Trump has no sway, which is embarrassing and humiliating, especially when media starts asking him questions about it. And he doesn't like questions that are inconvenient or unflattering or uh, don't presuppose that he is the world's most stable genius who knows the most about everything and is the bestest at everything ever, right? So jaw dropped a little, and we're going to look at this today in case you missed it. Uh, because if this is something that is true and is going to last, um, it would be a seismic shift on that global chessboard that, as Bo and Bell of the fifth column call it, that international poker table at which everyone is cheating. Um, this is something. And if this is a breakup, this is a breakup, very public, and it's not like it's not Gwyneth Paltrow and the lead singer of Coldplay having a conscious decoupling or uncoupling. This is more like you lying no good two-time and think I don't believe a word you say anymore. I'm taking my pack my things and I'm leaving. And not only am I leaving, I'm shacking up with your best friend. And not only that, I'm taking the dog too, because the dog likes me better anyway. Slam the door. Leave. This is drama. There be drama, darlings. So, of course, because, as you know, petty is my favorite color. I have to show this, but watch in these first moments of the press conference how it seems like it's going to be a normal style Trump press conference, and then um, uh, well, you will see. It and it's not like let's put it this way. It's not like I could say I saw this coming. I had hoped that something like this might happen because he has been promising it for a long time, giving Putin a certain amount of leeway and time and, all these deadlines that never materialize. But yeah, there is no bigger form in which these words could be said. So let's take a look. And interesting. There we go. Oh, okay. It seems that we need to go a little further in time here. So let's do that. And we're still
of a fight,
there we go.
and we'll see how that all turns. We're going to sing that.
Okay. Here we go. Apologies for the sound thing. It's
Thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate it, and we've had an interesting day. I think a very productive day, and we're now meeting with. We're going to start a meeting with the president, who will very well. He's a great man and putting up one hell of a fight. And we'll see how that all turns out. But we're going to have a meeting, and we have about 30 meetings scheduled today. We have a lot of meetings scheduled today, going pretty late into the night. But this is an important one, and we have great respect for the fight that Ukraine is putting up. It's pretty amazing, actually. So, Mr. President, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. First of all, thank you for this meeting. Thank you for your personal efforts to stop this war just now, Mr. President. And I have to say that just now our first ladies of Ukraine, first ladies of the United States,
Yes.
just now we'll have a meeting about Ukrainian children. Thank you for Melania's personal involvement to this topic. And this is very important. I will brief Mr. President and his team what's going on the battlefield. We have good news. Of course, we want to stop the war, and with your help, first of all. And it's good that our soldiers occupied 360 kilometers this month. And of course, we will speak about how to finish the war and our security guarantees. A lot of what to discuss. Thank you.
Would you like to say how you're doing on the battlefield?
Yeah.
Please.
Okay. Now, here's the thing, right? If you don't know what's coming, which I didn't at this time, there is some surprising things here, right? I mean, Trump has said something good about the Ukrainian forces fighting, saying that, they seem to be doing well, and then delicately hands it over to Zelensky to make some comments. You will notice that Zelensky is a JD Vance approved, appropriately grateful and thankful. Lots of thank yous with your helps. This type of thing, the flattering and the buttering the bread on the right side. And then Trump turned around and again said, "Do you want to tell people how things are going on the battlefield?" Why would Trump want to give the floor? So, but here at this point, I'm just thinking, well, Trump might be just having a good day, and Trump likes to be liked. So, saying, that the Ukrainians are being impressive on the battlefield, but that's just Trump doing the Trump thing, blowing sunshine up everybody's butts because he wants, to get praise in return. But turns out that this is foreshadowing of stuff to come. But again, let's continue listening to President Zelensky and how it's going on the battlefield.
Yeah. So we, thanks to our soldiers and to possibility to further the program when NATO countries, by the way, thanks to the support that they can buy weapons from the United States. So our soldiers this month, they occupied 360 kilometers, and they encircled 1,000 soldiers. And of course, we want to exchange, because we need our soldiers in any case. But thanks to our soldiers, we have this possibility, this opportunity, and we will continue until Russia will stop this war. And I hope that they will stop in any case. We know that the economy of Russia is not doing well. With this, during this war, we need more pressure and more sanctions. And I hope with United States, first of all, and Europe, but we support, Mr. President, your idea, and I want to discuss it, how to stop some countries from Europe, to stop the possibility to buy Russian oil and gas. Yes. I had a conversation, by the way, with President of Slovakia, Prime Minister. We had a good conversation. I think that they need some alternative ways that they will support this. I'm not sure that Hungarians are ready, but everything is in the future.
So interesting comments in there when he says he's not sure that the Hungarians are ready. Of course, Viktor Orban, very much a Putin ally. But the Slovakian leaders, who were more in Putin's camp based on historical relations between the two countries, seem to be shifting. So that is an important piece on the chessboard that is moving.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Mr. President, do you think that NATO countries should shoot down Russian aircraft if they enter their airspace?
Yes, I do.
Boom. Just like that. Did anybody see that one coming? First question, right off the bat. Right? Point blank. Do you think that NATO should shoot down Russian airplanes or anything Russian air, drones or whatnot, that are flying an allied country's airspace? Now, this is after incursions over Poland, over Estonia, and I didn't do much research, but I did hear on another podcast platform that I respect that also Denmark's airspace had also been violated by Russia. So they're testing to see how far they can push, and there was no reaction in Poland, and Trump even suggesting that maybe it was a mistake, and the Polish leaders goes, "Yeah, that was not a mistake." At the number of them and all that that was not a mistake, right? And then it was Estonia, and there was not less plausible deniability. And then, of course, if they violated the Danish airspace as well, then this is Putin repeatedly telling Trump on the international scene, "You're weak. I know you're not going to do anything. This is why I'm doing this. I am the big man here." And Trump just turned around and said, uh, no flowery language, no if buts, no wavering, no saying one thing and its opposite, as Trump usually does. Just, yeah, I think they should shoot them down. Now, a little reminder that Turkey has already done this a few years ago, by the way. And there was no real consequence for Turkey from Russia for having done it. So I'm not sure what people are waiting for, to be totally honest. Both sides have shown that there is no consequence so far. So if there starts to be consequence for Russia, and another kit in the chat did make a point that I heard somewhere else too, that Ukraine seems to be doing a good job, particularly with attacking Russian energy infrastructure, and that might be something that changes the equation for Putin a whole lot more quickly than it would otherwise. It would be nice to have more countries being affected by secondary sanctions for purchase of oil from Russia, and that might come, and there could be other strategies that could be used. But if other people aren't joining the sanctions fast enough, destroying the energy infrastructure would certainly hobble Putin in his efforts to fund the war. And I'm pretty sure that the tap from China, however it is that they are helping Putin, is not limitless. I have a feeling, given that China is rather strategic, I would, suggest that China would have no problem funding Russia's excursion to a certain extent or providing assistance, so long as it keeps on weakening Russia and somewhat weakening Europe as well, so that there's less ability to respond should China decide to invade Taiwan, and that Russia essentially becomes a vassal state of China, because they've done in their economy on this foolish war. And China is perfectly happy to allow one rival to deplete itself financially and in terms of resources, while allowing a former competitor to be a pole in a multipolar geopolitical world, have much less clout, so that China is the only game in town. a whole lot more than it could be. So, but I don't believe it's limitless, and I do believe that China is the current government of China is ruthless enough that if this no longer becomes convenient or too much of a money pit, that they would, or Russia is depleted enough that they are no longer a competitor, that they would be um, very much inclined to pull the rug out from under Russia at the last minute, particularly or without a notice, particularly if Russia is not particularly able to do anything in retaliation should China do that, because it has invested so much of itself in this fool's errand. And the, either out of pride or whatever, Putin just can't seem to quit it when he should know better, given the state of the Russian economy. But yeah, um, like I said, lots of geopolitical things, lots of chess pieces moving. Will be very much interesting to see what's going on. And then a lot of people breaking it down here in the chat in even more simple terms. Kit PNC Bio, Trump likes people who win. Putin isn't going to win. So Trump is changing horses. That's as good a theory as any, because we've seen it in politics, right? There was that one race where there were two people, I think named John or Mike or something like that, that were running in it, and goes, I endorse Mike. Mike who? I endorse Mike. It's like, gee, way to make sure that you don't lose no matter what, right? So yeah. And again, the other angle is as well, right? Is it all about winning the Nobel? And if Putin's not doing the right thing, and Volodymyr Zelenskyy is showing up, and if Zelenskyy with Europe and everyone like this, Trump thinks that they can win. Well, let's just do that, and maybe Zelenskyy is even like talking in Trump's ear. You want that Nobel Prize? Back me. I'll hook you up. I'll make a case for you. So yeah, it is. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on. Yes, Kit Elaine always there praising my pettiness. All right, kits and cubs. Let's go back to the press conference, because I am one of the first clips when I was seeing the tweet activity starting. And I was like, just like, yes, they should shoot down the planes. And I was like, what? There was this big loud collective what coming from the whole universe that made its way through social media. All right. And so let's see what happens after, because it gets better. Kids and cubs, it gets better.
Mr. President, any update on your talks with President Putin, and do you still trust him?
I'll let you know in about a month from now. Okay.
So there's where could be. When I say believe, I'll believe it when it lasts. There's where it could be some wiggle room. Because once again, right? It's like, do you still trust Putin? I'll tell you in a month. Oh, yes, another month deadline. If he doesn't do this in 2 weeks, he's got 50 days. He's got 1 week. By this date, I'll tell you in a month. There's the wiggle room, right? It would have been better if he didn't leave that wiggle room. I'll tell you in a month. And that's what you told us last month, and the month before, and the month before. Maybe you should just tell us whether you still trust him or not, and we can all move on. All right, let's keep it going.
From your message
to provide Ukraine with the security guarantees that is in with European allies.
Well, that's later down the road. We'll be talking about that. Hopefully, we'll be in a position to talk about that a little bit later on. It's a little bit too early.
Why do you think, Mr.
And again, more wiggle room, right? Because do you trust Putin? I'll tell you in a month. What about security guarantees for Ukraine? That's a little premature. Actually, it isn't. This thing's been going on for a few years now. Ukraine's been asking for security guarantees for quite a while now. I don't think it's premature. But okay.
Putin is not willing to meet with both of you.
President Trump, your message to President Orban, who is refusing to stop buying Russian oil.
Well, he's a friend of mine. I have not spoken to him, but I have a feeling if I did, he might stop, and I think I'll be doing that.
Thank you.
Okay. Again, Orban, the one that Zelensky said, I don't think the Hungarians are quite there. The Slovaks have moved. Trump going, he's a friend of mine. Haven't talked to him about this. I'm adding the about this because I'm assuming that that's what the end of that phrase was. But I might be doing that. So if Trump is starting to place calls to Orban and asking Orban, you know what? He's no good. He's no good. He's a fink. Victor, you have to choose. It's either Putin or me. Again, when two autocratic paramours have a breakup, sometimes it's hard to decide who gets the friends. I'm sorry. I should not be laughing because the global stakes are huge. The global Trump stakes. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm being childish. The global stakes are actually huge here, but there's something about the starkness of the geopolitical consequence juxtaposed with the rhetoric that literally sounds right like the toddler who's got like his backpack filled and is at the door and says, I'm running away from home. And parents are there. Oh, are you? Why? It's because this. Okay, well, take care of yourself. I'm going now. Okay, we will miss you. We're sad, but if that's what you must do, I really mean it. I'm going. Okay, and they're waiting for you to say stop. And you're like, yeah, go ahead. There's that kind of vibe to the rhetoric and his persona, and it's like I can't help but laughing because it is so damn absurd and silly. And then I catch myself and I think, yeah, but the consequences of this could be disastrous. I shouldn't be laughing so hard, but I can't help it. I can't help it. It's I finally understand the concept of amusing ourselves to death, I think. All right. Let's keep going.
Progress do you think has been made on ending Russia's war against Ukraine since the last time you saw President Zelenskyy?
Well, the biggest progress is that the Russian economy is terrible right now. As you know, it's crashing. And that, frankly, Ukraine is doing a very good job of stopping this very large army. It's pretty amazing. This is a war that should have ended in 3 days, 4 days. People said it was going to be very quick, and you got to hand it to the Ukrainian soldiers and everybody involved. It's still going on, and that's not a good thing for Russia. This was supposed to be quick, and so Russia doesn't look very distinguished, having taken 3.5 years now, right? It's about 3.5 years of very hard fighting, and it looks like it's not going to end for a long time.
Mr. President, have you been briefed on the latest?
Okay, trashing the effort, praising the Ukrainian effort and trashing the Russian effort. Okay, let's keep going.
Mr. President, have you been briefed on the latest alleged drone incursion into Denmark? What do you think of that? And
Where are they?
Into Denmark, Copenhagen. Denmark is saying that there were some drones that shut down an airport, possibly Russian sabotage. What's your response to that? Will the U.S. have a material
Well, I
response
have
to that?
no response until I find out exactly what happened. I know about it, but they don't know what happened. but we're going to find out very soon.
Sir,
Would you back up NATO allies? You said that you thought that they should shoot down the Russian aircraft. Would you back them up? Would the United States help them out in some way?
Depends on the circumstance, but we're very strong toward NATO. NATO stepped up. When they went from 2% to 5%, that was great unity. Trillions of dollars is being pumped in, and they're paying us for the weapons that we send. But that was a big day. That nobody thought a thing like that could happen. You had countries that weren't paying 2%, and now they're all paying 5%. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of weapons they're buying, and they're buying them from us. They're buying them from the U.S. In the old days, Biden gave them everything, gave them $350 billion worth of money and weapons. It's a lot of money and a lot of weapons, and we got really not much for it. We gave the money to Ukraine to fight, and they've proven they're very brave. I mean, look, they're fighting, and this is a war going on 3.5 years, and people thought it would be over quickly because Russia's a big military power, and Ukraine, I tell you, they are good fighters. Got to hand it to them. They have a lot of courage, a lot of guts. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, a lot of courage, a lot of guts. He might back up NATO if they decide to make the incursion. If they decide to fight back and take down those planes and anything else that Russia sends by air. So yeah, that part really interesting. And then we get to the after this, he pinned this truth, and I'm going to put it here on the screen and read it for you because I'm not sure if it'll be. He wrote this, and this is the part that made my jaw drop because there's what he said in that room that was interesting enough, but he went further in the written form. After getting to know and fully understand the Ukraine-Russia military and economic situation, and I'm going to insert an editorial note here. You didn't get to know and fully understand the Ukraine-Russia military and economic situation when you promised you could solve it in a day before your mandate officially started. Then I guess this is a confession of that, right? You who knows more about anything than anything? You're basically confessing here that you didn't know what you were talking about when you made that promise. But I will digress. After getting to know and fully understand the Ukraine-Russia military and economic situation, and after seeing the economic trouble it is causing Russia, I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form. The Donald Trump, who just a couple of weeks ago was saying, hey, Vladimir, you know that you are going to have to, you are going to have to cede some territory. Like, forget Crimea. Crimea, that's gone. You're never going to get that back. All of a sudden, it is Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form. That's a big flip. With time, patience, and the financial support of Europe, and in particular NATO, so he doesn't say the financial support of Europe and the support of the United States, but the support of NATO, which United States is the biggest player. The original borders from where this war started is very much an option. Why not? Russia has been fighting aimlessly for 3.5 years, a war that should have taken a real military power, all with capitalized letters, not in all caps, but real military power, each word capitalized. Less than a week to win. Again, slagging the Russian military effort as being aimless and taking too long. 3.5 years for a war that should have taken less than a week to win. This is not distinguishing Russia. In fact, it is very much making them look like a paper tiger. This is Trump. When the people living in Moscow and all other great cities, towns, and districts all throughout Russia find out what's really going on with this war, the fact that it's almost impossible for them to get gasoline through the long lines that are being formed, and all of the other things that are taking place in their war economy, where most of their money is being spent on fighting Ukraine, which has great spirit and only getting better, Ukraine would be able to take back their country in its original form, and who knows, maybe even go further than that. Okay, so if we're keeping score here, right? NATO allied members should shoot down Russian aircraft if it's in the space. Do you still trust Putin? Ask me in a month. Would you back up NATO ally members who were shooting down Russian planes? Perhaps. Not no. Perhaps. Security guarantees? It's a little too premature to talk about that, but we'll see. I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, can fight and win all of Ukraine back. Russia has been fighting aimlessly. It's probably not a real military power. Russia's not distinguishing itself. It's looking like a paper tiger. Hey, Russian citizens who are getting this propaganda from Putin that says that this war is absolutely great and everything's fantastic and that you're doing well and all that kind of stuff. Gee, when you find out what's really going on, boy, are you going to be mad. Shouldn't your money be spent on better things than fighting Ukraine? I mean, Ukraine has great spirit and it's only getting better. Ukraine will probably be able to take back Ukraine in its original form, and who knows, maybe go further. Putin and Russia are in big economic trouble. Putin and Russia are in big economic trouble, and this is the time for Ukraine to act. In any event, I wish both countries well. We will continue to supply weapons to NATO for NATO to do what they want with them. Good luck to all. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. You're no good. I'm tired of your hair plugs. You got bad breath. I'm leaving you and I'm taking the dog. Slam the door. Girl, this is drama. This is drama. Listen, again, I will believe it when it lasts. Yes, I do believe that if I had to put money on it, that yeah, Trump and Putin are still somewhat playing footsie somewhere. I do all these things in there, but I have never heard rhetoric anywhere close to this since this has started. Claiming that he believes that Ukraine could take all its territory and maybe even go further. Then when he says maybe even go further, which would mean probably take some Russian territory, and not saying that he has a problem with that. It's not like, and who knows, maybe go further, which would make me very mad, and Ukraine shouldn't do that. No, just who knows, maybe they could go further. That is, wow. Yeah. Got some people, that part was shocking. I didn't expect that. Indeed. Yeah. Kitland M says Sweden may have also had a flyover as well. But yeah, these are some big moves. Like I said, I don't know what type of additional fallout will have happened. And to be totally honest, there might have been additional fallout since this news came out, but I was busy being a good beaver sweetie. So I'm not aware of what it is yet. The latest information that I have for you is as of with regard to this, because I took some time to be a good beaver sweetie. It comes from as about like 6 o'clock yesterday evening. If there's anything that's happened in the last 12 hours or 18 hours, I'm not aware of it. But wow, that is absolutely something. And here we have Kit Hugh here saying, giving some additional information here. Morning, everyone. No, the drones were what is called a probe, likely to test reaction times, comms frequencies used, and where intercepts occur. And that was one of the things, by the time I think anybody had decided that they would do something to respond, I think, to what was happening in Estonia, I think 12 minutes had gone by. And 12 minutes is a lot of time. A lot of damage could be done in 12 minutes. So yeah, this is the thing. Yeah, you probe, you see how fast people respond, what they use to respond, whatnot, and then you can sort of get them to show a few cards and see if you need to make adjustments in any way or know if you can be brave. So this is like I said, these moves are deliberate little provocations and information gathering, intelligence gathering exercises from Russia. So, Kid Bucky there, definitely not a mistake. It was testing boundaries. Yeah. Kit Hugh also saying here, there are also Dark Fleet ships dragging over comms cables in the Baltic and conducting sneaky route surveys in the Baltic. Yeah. So there you go. Again, Kit PNC Bio here. Russia pokes around the Arctic and Alaska all the time. Is Donald Trump saying we should start a war in Alaska? That's a natural flowing question. Indeed. Kit Linda M saying, I'm just waiting for something to come flying over the Arctic as well. Yeah, indeed. So yeah, Kit Q coming in here saying Russia never stopped probing over the Arctic. That is also quite true. Oh man, it is like I said, it is a big change in the rhetoric. We will see if it indeed does last. But the words spoken, for everybody who's wondering, like, why doesn't Trump ever say anything negative against Putin? Well, this is about as negative as it got. Aimless war would have taken a real military power to win it in less than a week. The Russian economy is a mess. When the Russians find out what's really going on, boy, are they going to be mad. Ukraine might even go further than taking back its own territory. Not saying he'd have a problem with that. Now, of course, in Trump's fantasy world, of course, he believes that everybody's going to be, given the credit to all those nations for doing the 5% thing on NATO. But with Trump somehow having the belief that most of that money is going to go to the United States. Now, a lot of that money is going to go to the United States. There are certain things that the United States can probably make that nobody else can, and all that kind of stuff. But wherever, at least for Canada, potentially even Europe, wherever they can, they are going to redirect some stuff. It's not the share of that $5 billion that's going to go to the United States is not going to be as big, clearly, as Donald Trump would like it. But I think that when it comes to spin, that's probably not going to matter. He's just going to see whatever purchases they are, and he's going to tout them as being something absolutely extraordinary that wouldn't have happened otherwise. And he'll be partially correct, but it's not going to be as big as he believes it to be. Not as big as he believes it to be, might still be big enough for whatever purposes he is pursuing. But he really does believe that all that big windfall is going to come his way. So yeah, well, geez. that caught the attention of the world yesterday, and we'll see if there is any additional fallout from that, and if there, of course, not only fallout but follow through from Trump with regard to that. And things like if we see more secondary sanctions being imposed on nations, that might be the first sign. If the probes suddenly stop because Donald Trump said out loud he believes that NATO nations should shoot down Russian aircraft that are flying in NATO ally space, that could be another sign. So keep your eyes and ears peeled over the next few days, kids and cubs, because there could be a lot of things going on. With regard to what's going on in New York, according to iPolitics, yesterday, Prime Minister made the rounds of the high-level diplomatic circuit that traditionally accompanies the opening week proceedings. According to the Prime Minister's office, after attending the opening round of debate, he joined Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy to co-host a discussion that aims to drive international humanitarian support for the immediate and unconditional return of Ukrainian children. That was yesterday morning, and a lot of people watched that. I see some comments in the chat today about that that were very positive. Again, people being very proud of our Prime Minister and what it is that he did there, what it is that he had to say, which was very nice. Our good friend Olga, who was in the room to cover the event. At first, it was looking that she had accreditation, and then it was looking for a while that her accreditation may have been pulled when it was determined that Donald Trump would be attending the event because his wife Melania is taken upon herself to make some pleas with regard to Ukrainian children and have them being returned. And it seems that Melania Trump and Prime Minister's wife, Diane Fox, who's also very much a very noted economist in her own right, apparently were talking together about such things. And when the Prime Minister made his address to the Council on Foreign Relations the previous day that we talked to you about, pitching Canada to the world, he wasn't there alone. He was there with Bob Ray, who is the permanent representative who you see here in this photo. And he had brought David Lebedi, who was going to be replacing Bob Ray, with him. And he had also brought Tom Clark, who's the Consul General, who also has an office in New York. So he was very well accompanied on that day. So this here is a panel discussion. Oops, I'm not sure if the image showed up here for you kids and cubs. So I will put it back in case it didn't show up on the screen. But there it is. So Olga took this picture from inside and sent it to us. And so thank you, Olga, for giving us this point of view. So yes, it was a very important meeting. And what is that? Can't remember what they called the conference there. But I'll find the name for you there. But yes, they were there, and it seems that Olga did manage to get her accreditation after all, in order to be able to attend that part of the summit. It was called the Bring Kids Back Initiative by President Zelenskyy, and conference at the United Nations headquarters there. And President Stubb of Finland, Olga reports, and also the heads of Latvia, Norway, and etc. are addressing the high-level session on the Bring Kids Back initiative by the president. There were 40 delegations present there. President Zelenskyy, the First Lady Zelenska, PM Carney, and the Honorable Diana Fox all spoke first at this, which was very good. So yeah, very important conference, and Olga is also particularly impressed by Prime Minister Carney's schedule, looking at all the places that he said he's going to be, and basically referred to him as a pretty much a Superman. Because it seems that he is indeed taking a lot on. So yeah, very interesting. Basically, I think how did she put it specifically? Okay, Sir Mark Carney, may we officially call you Superman? She said, and then posted his entire schedule. So here I will show this to you. Here we go. So yeah, this is all of it here. So at 9 o'clock, attend and deliver remarks at the first biennial summit for sustainable, inclusive, and resilient global economy. At 10:40, the Prime Minister will meet with the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness. I'm thinking that this is his schedule today. And then after that, he comes back to Canada, and he will be in Parliament for a question period at 2:15, and then at 4:40, the Prime Minister will welcome the President of Indonesia, Prabowo Subianto, a nation with which we recently signed a free trade deal, the fourth most populous nation in the world. So working on that part of it as well. Then there's a signing ceremony at 5:15, and then at 5:55 there will be a dinner for the President of Indonesia as well. That is closed to the media. So yeah, and that's after everything that he's done so far in the United States. And of course, as we mentioned, had a very packed schedule coming into it, and then had 700 at least additional requests for his time. I have no idea how they picked through that, but that's why you have good and competent staff, I guess, to help you figure that out. So yeah, then yesterday yesterday he was also booked for meetings with his counterpart from the Barbados, Mia Motley, as well as the Haitian Transitional Council chair, Laurent Saint-Cyr, and also had a meeting with Chinese Premier Li Qiang, after which he took questions from reporters before heading to a closed-door reception hosted by U.S. President Donald Trump. And the meeting with Chinese Premier Li Qiang is and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is particularly important because, I mean, I would assume, I say I assume because I'm not as familiar with politics in China as I should be on this front. I would assume that this person is the number two here, which is very interesting when you consider how fast this is happening. Because we had pretty cool relationships between the two. I mean, we had the whole hostage diplomacy thing under Trudeau, where they took Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig hostage in exchange to try to get Meng Wanzhou back, and held them for over 2 years, during which China kept on wanting to impose Chinese law in Canada, and our prime minister refused. This is one of the things that, for which, when people are looking back at his accomplishments, and a lot of people are saying he did nothing, this was a very, very critical thing that he did, right? Because there was a lot of pressure, particularly from conservatives, for Canada to fold, even asking why it is that we even, enforced the extradition treaty at all. Why didn't we just let her, said, this is going to be more trouble than it's worth. Just let her go to the United States, let her skip through and say, oh, sorry, we didn't know, we missed, and take that hit instead of the one that we took from China. But the conservatives, particularly, and many people in the business world, were basically begging Justin Trudeau to capitulate, just send her back, like, stop all these consequences that are coming. And our prime minister didn't. And when the government of China realized that Trump wasn't getting a second consecutive turn and Joe Biden won, and that they were not going to get any help from the United States in what it is that they were trying to do to apply pressure to Canada, then out of the blue, boom, they just released the two Michaels. I shouldn't say the two Michaels, Michael Spavor and Michael Kovac, because they're two individual people and have their own identities. And then we released Meng Wanzhou. We stood up to China when it was trying to get us to cave. Our prime minister did that, and he doesn't get enough credit for that particular geopolitical battle of wills, of hanging in there despite the consequences, because caving would have created one hell of a very, very, very dangerous precedent that we never would have been able to come back from. So that's something that he gets no credit for, and people don't acknowledge at all. So yeah, just wanted to put that there. But that joint economic body that had been rather inactive has been struck again. They are meeting. They had the first meeting. Remember, we talked to you about it on a show not too long ago. It seemed to have gone very well. Then the Premier of Saskatchewan, Scott Moe, pretty much like Danielle Smith did when she went to Mexico, went to China along with the Prime Minister's personal secretary, Cody Boy. And there they had some talks. And it seems that those talks led to this being able to happen, the Prime Minister of Canada having a meeting with this leader in China. And I just want to make sure the Premier, and it seems that as a result of this meeting, that it looks like the Prime Minister of Canada will be having a one-on-one with Chairman Xi Jinping relatively soon. And that part really made me think, wow, this is happening very, very, very quickly, because again, the whole Meng Wanzhou thing, China made that last 2 years. When they were talking about canola not imports, my God, tariffs. When China had imposed similar tariffs, I believe, on Australia, I think it was in 2023 or not sure, but I think in Trump's first mandate, possibly. I don't remember exactly when the year was, but it was relatively recently. It took Australia 2 full years in order to be able to get to the point that the tariffs came on, to get them come off with all, the slow diplomacy that China often does. So China is a country that has shown many times that it is fully okay and willing to drag its heels and, focus on process. No, first you need to do this, and we need to see this type of respect, and we need to see this type of cooperation and this type of thing before anything happens. And we have gone from having no relations to having that joint body struck, to having people go to China, to having the prime minister meet with the premier, and now there being open talk with the chairman in mere months. So there must be something that China is looking for. Don't know what it is, but for them to be that eager, because that is it's not cool unless it is a priority for China. So that part is a little impressive, and it would be interesting to keep an eye on that, because a lot of people have been saying, making the point that the prime minister doesn't seem to care much about the West, and that they were doing more for the auto sector than they were doing for the farmers. And that is not exactly, if it is true, I guess one could say it's true. But I think what's more true is that the actions just haven't been as visible because Trump is a big showman, and China is perfectly happy uh, working diplomatically in the hallways and in the back rooms without bringing too much attention. So, Prime Minister, this tweet out yesterday saying, had an engaged meeting with Premier Li Qiang today. We discussed opportunities for the Canada-China relationship and focused on trade issues around key products like canola and seafood. We're building a constructive, pragmatic dialogue to create more certainty and prosperity for both our nations. I have a clip that the Prime Minister here has on his Twitter feed showing them in the room having discussions table across table together, and those look rather involved, like rather involved discussions. So there we go. Other things that are moving on this front. Today, as we mentioned previously, the Prime Minister is going to have a meeting with his Jamaican counterpart, Andrew Holness, at 10:40 a.m. after giving a morning speech at the inaugural biennial summit for sustainable, inclusive, and resilient global economy before coming back home. There we go. Back home as well, it would seem that conservatives had an opposition day motion just the other day. Opposition day more just the other day, in which they wanted. Can't remember off the top of my head what the conservative motion is, and I should, because, well, politics is my kind of thing, but I'm drawing a blank. But every session, there are opposition days where the opposition parties get to present either a motion, sometimes a private member's bill, but usually would be a motion. And as you know, motions are non-binding. So it's an opportunity for opposition parties to usually make some type of statement about something that is important to it. And, and then people either vote for it or vote against it. Here, it seems that it was it was a bill having to do with crime. I wish I could remember off the top of my head what it was. But it was voted against, and of course, the conservatives all over the place got mad, said, "Oh my God, I can't believe the liberals voted against this. The liberals voted against this." And it wasn't so much that the liberals voted against it; it was just that the liberals had already indicated that they would be introducing their own bill. And what the conservatives did was decided to take one of their opposition days early, present a competing bill on a similar subject, and do it before the government was going to do it, to then make the claim that the government didn't support this, when everybody knew all along is that the government would be presenting its own bill. And why would the government vote for an opposition motion on a similar subject if the government was going to present its own bill to address it? So that's basically, so the conservatives basically wasted their day on a stunt. But the Bloc Québécois also decided to have their day, and it might be their only day this session. So they got theirs out early. So, often in a minority parliament, if there are tensions, opposition parties would often use their opposition days to have some type of motion of to try to put a motion of non-confidence out, which we saw a lot in the last session. Not happening, some of them using their opposition days early. And the Bloc Québécois used its possibly only designated supply day of the fall, and this is according to iPolitics, to trigger a full day of debate on the federal government's latest move in the ongoing legal battle over the constitutionality of Quebec's controversial secularism law. Last week, the party duly served notice of a motion that would call on the House to issue a non-binding demand that the government, quote, withdraw its factum filed on September 17th, 2025 with the Supreme Court, contesting Quebec's right to invoke the notwithstanding clause, as well as, quote, denounce its willingness to use the Supreme Court to take constitutional powers away from Quebec and the provinces. Again, it was never intended to give to provinces the constitutional power to trample over fundamental and inalienable human rights. And provinces don't have those rights. Humans do. So it is completely natural that the government of Canada would intervene and file a factum. So basically the Bloc Québécois is asking the government, that the legal document that you filed in court on this, repeal that. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen like this. And denounce your own willingness to use the Supreme Court to take constitutional powers away from Quebec and the provinces. That's not what they're doing. They're using the Supreme Court to determine whether or not this is a rightful use of constitutional powers, because the government of Canada is supposed to guarantee the inalienable human rights of every citizen. So this is obviously not going anywhere. The Bloc Québécois leader and Réal Fortin, his justice critic, had a press event in the House of Commons to make the case for the non-binding motion, and the debate, I guess, will get started on that today. The one-day debate on that. So that will be going on as well there. So those are some events that are taking place today. Also today, kids and cubs, for some reason I thought I had more information of this in my notes. Maybe I just put it in a different section of the notes, because sometimes I reorder information to be sure that I have it. Yep, see, this is what I did. Also today, for people who are a bit policy wonks and process wonks, the Access to Information, Privacy and Ethics members are kicking off a self-initiated review of the federal conflict of interest regime, and more specifically whether the existing laws, quote, should be amended or expanded with a view to enhancing transparency, preventing conflicts of interest, avoiding potential or apparent conflicts of interest, regulating public office holders' ownership of assets in tax havens, limiting the availability of blind trusts as a compliance measure. Gee, I wonder who put that one on the agenda. Extending the Act's provisions to political party leaders and leadership candidates, and increasing penalties for non-compliance, as per the terms of reference adopted with the combined support of the Conservatives and the Bloc Québécois over the objections of the Liberals, with a 1-hour appearance by York University Professor Emeritus Ian Green. That's at 4:30 p.m. today for those who like committee meetings. And one that's very important here, at the Science and Research Committee, MPs are having a third day of ongoing investigations into federal research funding, and more specifically, whether the criteria currently used in determining how that support should be allocated, quote, allow for the achievement of program objectives, strengthen the development of knowledge, and contribute to innovation, research, and science in Canada. And they will have today 2 rounds of panel discussions with academics and researchers from universities and post-secondary institutions across the country. So for those who are interested in support for scientific research and science education, that's also at 4:30, and the committee meeting will be held for that. And it seems like a serious topic, because they've dedicated 3 days for it. Also, representatives of the Fédération des communautés francophones et acadiennes du Canada, which represents Canadian French-speaking minority communities, will head to the West Block Media Theatre to voice their concern and expectations towards the federal government on official languages policy and upcoming budget cuts. That will be at 9:15 this morning. And Equal Voice Interim Executive Director Lindsay Brummel will mark Gender Equality Week by highlighting what the advisory describes as, quote, the urgent need for renewed efforts towards gender equity in Canadian politics, where women and gender diverse people remain underrepresented in the House of Commons, most legislatures, and at the municipal level, and offering, quote, practical recommendations for all parties on how to, quote, accelerate progress towards political parity. And that will take place at around 10 a.m. So lots of activity going on with various groups. And then, of course, the leader of Indonesia being entertained by the prime minister. And that is, of course, after question period, which happens, of course, after the prime minister having some important meetings in New York City and delivering an address. So clearly, lots going on and a full agenda today. I'm just going to make sure that my visuals are good because it seems that I might be a little bit fuzzy. And there you go. That's a little better. All right, kids and cubs. Also, on in the news today, the NDP, as we mentioned before, have started their official leadership race, and it was interesting in that um, as soon as it was announced, often there is somebody that comes in early and says that, I'm doing this. Here we are. Um, and that didn't really happen this time. There was Yves Engler from Quebec who had basically said from the get go when the rules were announced that he would be in. So that wasn't a surprise. And everybody thought of the two main frontrunners were going to be Avi Lewis and Heather McPherson. And it appears that both of them are in. Mr. Lewis did have his official launch, and Heather McPherson recently some social media content that would allow one to think that the 28th, I believe it is the day that she will make her official launch. And the reason I say that is because she, while not saying that she was in, right, that would self, she did release information stating that she has a very special announcement coming up on September 28th at 2:30 p.m. And I am going to guess that that is Edmonton time. So I don't know why someone would announce that they have a very special announcement coming up as a leadership race is coming up if that announcement is not that she will be running. So at La Cité Francophone, at 8627 Rue Marie Anne Gabory in Edmonton, September 28th, 2:30 p.m. I'm guessing that that is when she is going to announce that she is in. But kids and cubs, Mr. Avi Lewis is definitely in, and he made a pitch video that I am going to say I found impressive. Impressive not only for what it is that he has to say, impressive for some of the things he chose not to say, and of course, for production quality and sort of overall message that he is putting out there. It would seem to me, the way that I would put it, is that Mr. Lewis, who does have a background in media, I believe he was the host of CTV's Question Period for a short period of time, if I'm not mistaken, or a guest host, but does have some media experience and media savvy, has definitely put it to use here. And I'm getting the impression that for him, he might be running this Pierre Poilievre style in the good way, in the sense that not that he's being like wild and crazy, but in the sense that he's making of the major front runners, he's the first to go, he's the first to say I'm here, and he's making a very big bold statement with a big splash showing that he has media savvy and all that type of stuff, and I guess presenting himself as, well, clearly I'm the inevitable One, because out of all the potential candidates that there could be, I clearly have the best skills and the best, the clearest message and the best way to establish myself in the media, best name recognition, all of that. So, I am your undeniable candidate, the way that Pierre Poilievre presented himself, but probably with a whole lot less smarm and anti-charisma. So, Kits and Cubs, for those of you who have not had a chance to see it, take a look at Mr. Lewis's pitch. And like I said,
future.
I found it rather impressive. Okay, Kits and Cubs, this thing does not want to pause. There we go. Okay, turn the volume on. Make sure that the screen is up. Yes, it is. All right, here we go.
Life in Canada today feels on the edge. Everyone seeking just a little stability, everyone told, you're all on your own. It doesn't help that we're under economic attack. Disruption grenades flying over the border without warning.
From our 51st state.
But there's an even bigger crisis, one that Donald Trump only magnifies. It's the everyday emergency of just trying to get by in an impossible economy. Whether you're taking care of loved ones, hustling with multiple gig jobs, or punching the clock 9 to 5, working hard doesn't earn you a living. $100 for a cell phone plan? $300 for a cart of groceries? Several thousand a month for rent or a mortgage payment? These days, every politician claims to be shocked by the costs. What they don't talk about is why. The billions in profits for the tiny group of corporations that control every part of our economy. 3 phone providers, 3 grocery giants, 5 oil companies, and the 5 big banks that fund them. And when it comes to those oil and gas CEOs, they're not just hoarding extreme wealth, they're foreclosing on our shared future. Every summer now, wildfires poison the air, incinerate entire towns we love. And you know why it's happening, because liberals and conservatives in Ottawa let them get away with it. In the 1970s, my grandfather David Lewis, one of the founders of the NDP, said it well. The government and big business both hold hands in your pocket. His generation refused to accept a rotten deal. They want public health care, pensions, the whole social safety net that used to catch people when the economy tumbled. That's the tradition of struggle I was raised in. I came of age in the fight against free trade deals. You remember the ones that killed hundreds of thousands of jobs and made us so vulnerable to U.S. bullying today. Along the way, I butted heads with the powerful.
You're going to proclaim NAFTA.
Why you say that?
Prove me wrong then and abrogate it.
I'm telling you, listen to me, Louis, and let's be finished.
Hold on, Jason. I want to insist that you answer the question. You told the Calgary Herald that you support private health care. I just want to know if the Alliance Party does. You slashed 62 transit routes. You tried to close libraries. You said you'd do it in a heartbeat.
And for 4 decades, I have stood with workers, telling stories of working class heroes, organizing for dignity in factories and fields, classrooms and care homes, shop floors and fishing fleets. Now, I want to stand with you and anyone who believes that the job of government is to goddamn govern. Like with a wealth tax, a national cap on rent increases, public option for food and groceries, healthcare that covers you from medication to mental health, a Green New Deal that creates millions of good-paying jobs. Elites want us to believe that these kinds of changes are impossible. They divide us, turn us against each other, rural against urban, unions against environmentalists, everyone against immigrants. Keep us punching down so we don't look up. But our job as New Democrats is to do exactly that. Bring everyone together. Dream big again. Put the people's demands to the powerful and win. Remind all Canadians that they are the money, but we are the many. My name is Avi Lewis, and that's why I'm running to be leader of the federal NDP.
So, that is, whether you vote NDP or not, whether this is a party that you support or not, that is a very effective piece of political communication. 3 minutes and a half, where he goes back to the roots working class warfare, right? Class struggle. What is keeping Canada down at the moment? Everybody's worried about affordability. Why? Corporate greed and the way that we are organized corporately, right? 3 major phone companies, 3 major grocers, 5 big banks that fund them. Yes. Then tying it to the climate issue, right? A little bit of there's a little shout out to a famous NDP trope, liberal Tory, same old story. Not particularly sure that that particular angle will work. In the particular angle of, both hands in your pocket working with big business, there might be some truth to that or something that would resonate with that with Canadian voters. But there are other topics on which liberal Tory, same old story is really not going to work because we no longer have Tories, right? And the Liberals, given how far the Conservatives have strayed from actual conservatism, as we keep on saying, there's actually nothing morally or intellectually genuinely conservative about the Conservative Party anymore. The more regressive libertarians, angry regressive libertarians than anything else. Liberal Tory, same old story may not apply so much in 2025 as a trope, and there might not be as much appetite for it coming from the NDP, given that the current Liberal government that we have is very, very, very different than the Conservative Party of Canada in so many ways and on so many policy positions. But still, in terms of if we're looking the traditional um, frame, it's like yes, conservatives and liberals have both not done all that they could if we were putting workers and residents and consumers at the forefront of everything. That's an undeniable truth. We could be doing much better on those types of things. Um, and then works it back in again with a line that's pretty effective, but that it's the government's job to just goddamn govern. Right? And then puts in some policies that are there, and then puts his final push, right? And then segments of him when he was more in the media field, taking on some of the bigger players in there, showing that he is a fighter and all that type of stuff. Harkening back, a little moment of nostalgia, harkening back to early days of the NDP and trying to recapture that type of vim and vigor. All of these things are very, very good and things that the NDP probably does need to do in order to move ahead. Also, interesting, and this is not because it's a subject that he's avoided, he's talked about it since, but there is absolutely nothing in that video about Palestine. Nothing. And we know that this is an issue that, and the NDP particularly, is very involved with. There have been 2 or 3 press availabilities in the last week and a half with one of the 7 NDP MPs, Jenny Kwan, talking about something that has to do with Palestine. And again, it's one of the things that I mentioned, and it's an unpopular position for people who really are invested in the cause. And but I do not believe that the majority of Canadians, if you're trying to have a broad-based message that appeals to everyone in a time where people are feeling an existential threat and are wondering about affordability and maybe wondering if their job is still going to be there with the economy is going to turn, whether or not they are going to be open to hearing politicians talk a lot about Palestine or using it as a litmus test for leadership. And not that the issue isn't important, because remember, this is an issue that something that somebody taught me, this year when I was looking at polling stuff and was thinking, wow, so much for caring about homelessness or whatnot. And this is no, it's not that we don't care about these things. We care about these things deeply. Yes. But when we're worried about our jobs and we're worried about whether or not we're going to eat, it's not the issue we vote on. So making the distinction between an issue that's one that you go to the polls to vote for and an issue that you care about and would like to see resolved. Yes. But it may not be the one that you vote on. Because again, if we're looking at the pyramid of needs, food, shelter, clothing, that's right at the bottom. If that's not taken care of, you might feel bad, terrible about what's going on there, but it's probably not your primary concern for where you cast your vote. So in this video, that there isn't an appeal to that at all might strike a lot of people as being something that's missing. My question is this a deliberate strategic omission? Because the Lewis campaign realizes that though it needs to talk about it, it does not necessarily need to put it front and center if it wants to send a broad message that would appeal to the greatest amount of people, saying that I'm putting your issue, affordability, first. Sort of a little bit like with the liberals and the environment and climate change issues, where we know it's important to Mark Carney, and we've seen through various announcements how it's completely embedded in a lot of the things that he does. And like right now, it's like, today, this morning, he's going to be on an international scale, again, talking about sustainable development and that type of things. He hasn't abandoned it, but it isn't like the policy, right? It's climate competitiveness. He just seems to be embedding it in pretty much everything that he does, which is a different way of doing it, right? We talked about doing it through investments, not through interdictions. We'll see if that theory works. But the liberals also, like the NDP, might be realizing that even though climate is something that we absolutely have to take care of, Prime Minister keeps on referring to it as a moral imperative, there might not be votes in it at this particular time. People want it to be done, would prefer to be done, are happy if it's not done, but if clean fuel standards and industrial carbon regulation and whatnot doesn't put food on your table, doesn't find you a job, doesn't help your kid get an education, doesn't help you find a doctor, you might care about it, you might want it to be done, but you might not want that to be the focus. And what's, in the precious few minutes that you have in a day, how busy you are when you're turning into the news, it's like, can you just tell me if I'm going to still have a job? Stop talking about this other stuff. Right? This is the stuff that we do when we have money, when things are going well. But now we have to focus on the priorities. Right? Like I said, the person that opened my eyes to this, right? That not everything that's important to you might be the salient issue that will decide your vote next time around, and to not make the mistake that not making it your voting issue doesn't mean that it's an issue you don't care about. Really got me to change my frame and how I'm looking at a lot of things, because that is a reality in human nature. I can think about it myself. As soon as the example was given to me, I could think about the tons of things that I think are important and I would really like to happen, but they're not my primary voting issue. But they're sort of like the second tier of things. If I had two parties that were the same in every aspect on the things that really mattered to me, then those are the things I would go to distinguish the parties and then determine my vote. But they wouldn't be on the first tier. Right. And if that's true for me, then yeah, it's probably true for a lot of other people as well. So that was something that is very much associated to the NDP, the whole Palestine-Gaza issue, that was very much missing from this video. Another thing that was missing from Mr. Lewis's launch is at the time There was nothing in French. There's not a word of French in this video, and that's fine. If you have an English language and a French language video, he doesn't have that. He does, however, have a version of this video that is delivered in English that does have the subtitles in French and is being marketed in French. So at least there's that being done. But yeah, um, I think it's looking like we have a leader that, though understands that his products need to be, like his videos need to be subtitled and marketed in French, might not have the capacity to address Canadians in French, which would hobble one's ability. I don't think that this is going to be an issue for Eve Engler, who I believe is Quebec-based, but Heather McPherson, I assume, would have a similar issue. And that could be tricky for the NDP if it wants to do well in Quebec. Fortress Quebec is probably gone for the foreseeable future when it comes to the NDP because Jack Layton was a moment in Quebec specifically, and that'll probably be hard to recreate. But yeah, at the moment, Avi Lewis is in. Eve Engler, it seems, is in. Heather McPherson seems will be announcing very soon that she's in. So that will be at least 3. And then we will see if there are others. Again, the qualifications and the entry fee and all of that kind of stuff are a little more onerous than normal for the NDP. So there is possibility that it could end up just being a 3, maybe a 4-person race, and not that many more, given the rather high thresholds that are in place at the moment. But with that type of opening, Avi Lewis has definitely laid down a marker, and I'm not sure that any of the other candidates whose names have been floating around have the means and the ability to produce something that is on the same level or that could compete. But hey, we will definitely take a look at that as the campaign goes on. So yeah, let's see what here. And there is some polling information that has come out with regard to that. This is according to iPolitics, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. So here we go. I will just open the article for you here because I had not done it before the show. That was my bad. And of course, I cannot do it because it seems that here it is behind paywall. But yes, it would seem that according to some polling, uh, McPherson is still relatively unknown to the Canadian public. It would seem that in terms of name recognition, I think only about 8% of Canadians say that they have heard of her, which is relatively low. And when it comes to Mr. Lewis, it is significantly higher in terms of name recognition, but it isn't. He doesn't hit 50%. Not even 50% of Canadians know who he is. So both of them would have some selling to do in order to get their names out there. But even in those numbers, Mr. Lewis definitely has a markedly better name recognition than does Miss McPherson in this race. So, and of course, there is some media starting. Power and Politics had a discussion a couple of days ago with Avi Lewis, and hopefully I'll be looking at that and bringing you more information on that as we cover the race as it keeps on going. But wanted to make sure that you knew that we have at least one candidate, perhaps 2, that are officially in, with the 3rd one coming soon, and that the race is officially on. Kits and Cubs. All right. Kits and Cubs, I believe that's pretty much all I have for you today. couple of small other things that happened, of course. As you know, Kids and Cubs, Jimmy in the States, the Jimmy Kimmel late night show went back on the air yesterday. I did watch it to see the opening monologue. I think he handled it very well. And, you could see that um, trying to reach out to the other side by making it clear that he did not believe that this type of thing should happen to anyone, but also commending Charlie Kirk's wife for saying that she forgives her husband's assassin, Jimmy Kimmel, seeming to be choked up by that act of generosity of the human spirit. He chooses to interpret it that way. And it seems that the audience that was with him was definitely there for that. But yeah, handled it well, and then got on with the show that had Sarah McLachlan as a guest there promoting her new album, Better Broken, and of course the premiere of her documentary on Lilith Fair that debuted at the Toronto International Film Festival and can now be seen on CBC Gem in Canada by anyone who would want to see it. I think it's called Building a Mystery or Building Mysteries. And Sarah McLachlan, in support of Jimmy Kimmel, was supposed to perform at the premiere of the documentary in the United States and took a pass on that when she found out what happened about Jimmy Kimmel, and then, of course, on the first day that he was back on air, appeared on his show to support him and sing her latest song, "Better Broken." There, so that was a nice moment, and with that, the Jimmy Kimmel thing, there was an open letter with signed by 400 of the biggest, some of the biggest stars and the biggest names in Hollywood, and of course there were a lot of people that were canceling their Disney Plus subscriptions and all that kind of stuff, and the Disney share went down. So it would seem that this is a case because he was taken off air because the chairman of the FCC kind of threatened the companies, and ABC was in talks for a merger, similar to what was the case when Stephen Colbert found out that his show would not be renewed as well. There was some types of talks and some greater, broader business dealings, and this merger would require FCC approval, and it seemed to be sort of like a nice merger you got there. Would be a shame if something happened to it. So the company decided on the side of money and canceled Jimmy Kimmel. And then there seemed to be some financial consequence for the company that was rather severe as of that. And therefore, Jimmy Kimmel was brought back after some thoughtful discussions, quote unquote. But not all networks carried him. Some of the distributors decided not to show him. So there was 20 markets or so that his show was not brought back to the air for people to see. So we'll see if those resolve themselves over the next days and weeks to come. But yeah, he is back. Hopefully. And the thing I'm learning from this once again, is push back, right? Always push back. Companies will do what is in its financial interests. So the ones that are indicating, like ABC, that they're fully willing to obey and comply in advance, change their minds when the people decide, well, if you're going to obey in advance, we will not support you anymore, or we will make your share price go down. And then all of a sudden you see how they changed their mind. There are more of us, right, than there are elected politicians or decision makers or CEOs. Right? So if we always push back and we make these decisions cost them, if they are on the side of money, then we have to show that we have the bigger clout. We have the ability to impact and affect them more. if we want them to decide on the side of doing what's best for the greatest number of people rather than what's doing best to please one man. Always push back. Always push back. So there we go. It's a win. How long the win is, how short-lived, how long. Jimmy Kimmel has been doing the show, I think, for 23 years. His contract is up in 2026. It might be a case again of just simply not renewing at that time. But for the time being, there has been some pushback. And the pushback was embarrassing enough either for the leaders or for the company itself that it led to a rapid change in direction from the original position. The company basically learned that it would cost them more to lose the public, because what's the point of merging with another company and trying to get new big business if nobody's going to watch your product anymore, right? So you have to save the consumer base to make the potential merger worth it. And maybe ABC finally realized where their bread was buttered in reality. Kids and Cubs, couple of small news items for you before we go here. My God, things do not want to cooperate with me today. Yeah. Okay, let's try this another way since it's not working the way it normally does. There we go. Let's try that. Just on our thing, our declaration of support for Palestinian statehood, it seems that there was a letter that was issued indicating that the United States, over the weekend, the United States had sent a government letter threatening France, Australia, UK, and Canada if they recognize Palestinian statehood. And despite U.S. warnings of punitive measures, we proceeded with the recognition anyway. So there. Good. You do the right thing anyway. Also, it seems that yesterday we had a guest in town. Was it yesterday? Yes, it was. Mayor Pete from the United States, former U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg came to Ottawa and hinted at a 2028 run, according to Kate McKenna of the CBC. Potential U.S. Democratic presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg says he did not imagine a moment like this between Canada and the United States, and outrages directed at Canada and the Canadian government do not reflect the will of the American people. Buttigieg was the keynote speaker at a dinner hosted by Canada 2020 in Ottawa on Monday night. Canada 2020 describes itself as Canada's leading independent progressive think tank and has notable alumni, including former advisory board chair, Prime Minister Mark Carney. To that end, cabinet ministers, staffers, and former high-profile Liberals filled a ballroom at the Westin Ottawa to hear former Canadian cabinet minister Seamus O'Regan's fireside chat with Buttigieg. Quote, "I did not imagine we would find ourselves in a moment like this," said Buttigieg, describing the current state of U.S.-Canada relations, inflamed by tariffs and U.S. President Donald Trump's repeated assertions that Canada would be a good 51st state. Quote, "The first thing I want to say is, I get it, and most of us get it." He said his goal is to, quote, "puncture the idea that the current president and current government's, quote, outrages speak to the will of all Americans." His comments are in a stark contrast to those made by U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra, or as we affectionately call him, Ambassador Fuckface, who said last week he was, quote, "disappointed, boo-hoo, with anti-American sentiment in Canada." Quote, "I'm disappointed that I came to Canada, a Canada that is very, very difficult to find Canadians who are passionate about the American-Canadian relationship." Well, you don't seem to be very passionate about it either, fuckface. I mean, God, he said at an event hosted by the Halifax Chamber of Commerce. It comes at a time when Canada's taken a big step back from the United States. Buttigieg, an avowed critic of Trump, who frequently appears on right-leaning Fox News television shows, said the president has caused a strain between both countries, but he believes the relationship will endure. Quote, What's happening between us is a storm that's been provoked by what one government is doing rather than something that calls into question the fundamentals of our relationship, which is between peoples, not only governments. He said that Carney's elbows up election campaign in the spring election, which focused heavily on asserting Canada's sovereignty in the face of Trump's trade threats, resonated with progressive Americans. Quote, in a way, that did not make us feel alienated from Canada, he said. To us, it did not signal a further step in the direction of rupture, but rather the kind of difficult realignment that happens with actual friends. Buttigieg ran in the 2020 Democratic Party presidential primaries and served as transportation secretary under then-President Joe Biden. He had previously served as a naval officer and as mayor of his hometown, South Bend, Indiana. Came out as gay in 2015 and regularly talks about his husband and 2 children. He is rumored to be mulling a run for president again in 2028. During the fireside chat, O'Regan referenced the 2024 Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris's recent book, in which she revealed she considered Buttigieg as a running mate, but had concerns that the ticket, which would feature a black woman married to a Jew, would be taking on a big risk by adding a gay man. Quote, she felt it was more than the country could handle, and I wanted you to respond to that, said O'Regan to Buttigieg. Quote, there's only one way to find out what the country can handle, Buttigieg said, prompting applause in the room. Which is by actually running. So that happened. There is also been an issue of vandalism, according to Steve Lambert of Canadian Press. Police are investigating recent damage at the constituency offices of 2 Manitoba cabinet ministers in adjacent Winnipeg neighborhoods. There have been 4 reports of fires since the start of August at the office of Bernadette Smith, the city's fire paramedic service said Tuesday. Smith is the Minister for Housing, Addictions and Homelessness and represents the inner city Point Douglas area. Immediately to the north in St. John's constituency, windows of the Office of Families Minister Nahanni Fontaine were smashed in recent days. Interesting that it's both women. Both ministers said office staff were not present when the incidents occurred. The window smashing at Fontaine's office occurred in the early morning hours. Both offices are in higher crime areas of Winnipeg. There was no indication from police, who declined to discuss details of an ongoing investigation of any connection between the events or possible political motives. Still, Fontaine says it's cause for concern. Quote, our staff are safe. They're working from home this week for obvious reasons, Fontaine told reporters. And my priority is to make sure they are safe and that they know I support them in whatever supports they need. Smith, through a press secretary, declined to comment. The rear exterior of her office bore visible signs of small fires Tuesday. Portions of the brick exterior were charred black and windows were boarded up. A neighboring building appeared untouched. The Winnipeg Police Service did not comment other than to say the Major Crimes Unit is investigating. Security at constituency offices has been increasing concern at both provincially and nationally in recent years. Unlike ministerial offices inside government buildings, constituency offices are often small storefronts that are easy to access by the public. Police were called to a Manitoba politician's office in 2022 after staff reported being threatened by a man who walked in. Funding for security systems at constituency offices in the province was increased. In 2023, a constituency assistant in Nova Scotia was physically attacked in her office. Former federal public safety minister Marco Mendicino in 2024 called for the creation of, quote, protective zones around political constituency offices to shield members of parliament and their staff from a rising tide of threatening behavior. Quote, I think that politicians, public servants across the country have raised concerns, and that's an ongoing conversation, I think, across the country. And then the final little story that I have for you, kits and cubs, and this one is somewhat salty, spicy, but it would seem that there are 2 judges appointed judges in the province of Alberta who are under investigation after the Investigative Journalism Foundation revealed evidence of donations to the UCP. Alberta's Chief Justice is investigating the conduct of 2 judges after the Investigative Journalism Foundation uncovered evidence suggesting they gave money to the United Conservative Party after being appointed to the provincial court bench. Judge Daniel Robert Powell was appointed to the Alberta Court of Justice in 2022 and again in 2013, and currently sits in Calgary as a supernumerary or part-time judge. Records from Elections Alberta show someone with the same name made financial contributions to the UCP from Calgary in 2018, 2022, 2023, totaling $3,535. And there is another judge that was involved in this. And here, Kits and Cubs, I will present. There is a Bethany Lindsay, who is with the Investigative Journalism Foundation, has a TikTok that's out that explains a little bit what's going on and why this is a big deal. So I will play it for you. And Cubs.
We've got a big scoop at the IJF, and the Chief Justice of Alberta's Provincial Court says he's opened an investigation into our findings. So we've uncovered evidence suggesting that 2 sitting judges in Alberta donated money to the United Conservatives. That's the ruling party in Alberta. These judges' full names and their cities match the records in our political donors database. We've got 1 donation from Gordon Hatch and 3 from Daniel Paul. So for sitting judges, it's a big ethical no-no to give money to political parties or candidates. Experts say it can undermine the faith that Canadians have in the justice system to be impartial. We were able to make these connections thanks to a new database that we're just about to launch at the IJF. It brings together political appointments from across the country. So you've got judges, ambassadors, even the Prime Minister's chef. Watch for the launch of the new appointments database very soon. And to read more about our exclusive story, go to theijf.org.
And there you have it, Kits and Cubs. So there will probably be more fallout from this, given that the Conservatives like to wrap themselves up in the scales and claim that they are all law and order. But this is behavior, as is stated in the video. That's a big no, 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 no. We do not do that. So yeah, we'll see what becomes of. We'll see what comes of that as well, Kits and Cubs. All right, Kits and Cubs. That's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. We really appreciate it when you do. And Kits and Cubs, one announcement I wanted to make to you for a potential future interview guest. This is a guest that we had reached out to before. And as I mentioned, they had responded. But for some reason, it slipped through the cracks. Neither Mr. Grizzly nor I saw that this person had responded at the time. And we reached out to them again. And they responded, "Hey, thanks for the ping. I'm slowly catching up on my emails, and I'll get back to you guys in the next day or two. Appreciate all the kind words, and will happily join on the pod soon." And Kits and Cubs, if you are wondering, because I've showed you some ankle and some leg about another guest that we're working on that we still haven't fully confirmed yet. But this is someone who he himself told us that he wanted to be on the show. And again, stating here that he will get back to us in order to make that happen. And Kits and Cubs, that fine gentleman is none other than one-time world record holder of the gold medal at the World Athletics Championships in the 35-kilometer race walk, Mr. Evan Dunphy. So yes, Kits and Cubs, please keep your fingers crossed for us, because if it is able to materialize, Evan will be, well, I guess now the second world champion that we've had on our show, given that we recently had Olga Nestorova, who is a world champion in ballroom dancing. So there you go. Working hard to get some of the most interesting and best guests for you. And fingers crossed that we will be able to make something happen with Evan. I'm not sure if it does happen, whether or not it will be happening soon, because he is getting married at sometime in October and probably has a lot to do there. So it might be after that, but who knows? He might find a time to squeeze us in. And I'm sure that he's got tons of PR duties, because he must be well in demand once you win a world championship gold medal. All of a sudden, lots of things happen for you. But yes, if we can indeed get Evan sooner rather than later, we will do that. And if not, well, then of course, after wedding and honeymoon and plenty of rest, hopefully we will definitely have him on the show, because he is just a great guy, a gem of a guy. And it would be nice to have a conversation with him about everything that's involved in being that type of world-class athlete for so long. I think he started on the scene in like 2009 or something like that. So it's been 16 years that he's been in the public consciousness, and that's a very long career to be performing at a high level, pretty much all the way throughout. So yeah, fingers crossed that we will get Mr. Evan Dunphy here at the Beaver Lodge. Like I said, working hard for you, kids and cubs. Working hard for you. Remember that sharing is caring, so please share our content with a little word of your own about what the content means to you and how it resonates with you. That helps us a lot. And if you would like us to help you, kids and cubs, because you might be on the go and you don't have time to watch the video episode with the DAMFAM or at your own convenience, well, we're portable and you can take us with you. Thanks to the Ray Girl. If you scan this QR code, it will bring you to our pod page, podpage.com/thetruenortheagerbeaver with a hyphen between each one of those words. And when you click on subscribe, when we have something fresh off the podcast bandwidth, it goes to your favorite podcast feed and just waits for you to pick it up and collect it. And that way you can go take on the day and put us in your ears. And that way you can keep informed at the same time. It's win-win. Now, kids and cubs, if you would like to help us, then we would ask, please, that you grab your e-surfboard and surf on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, where 25,300 of you have so far. Let's keep growing. It's so nice to see the numbers grow. It just gives us a little bit of happy every time we do. So please do click on those buttons, not just the subscribe one, but we have like and share for you as well. So it helps us with the algorithm when you do that. Thank you so very much. And of course, to all of you watching, we do have memberships and the super chat function if you would like to financially support the show through that means. Also, kids and cubs, if you would like to support us in other ways, financially, of course, because we incur some cost to bring the show to you, you can do that by going to our coffee page. The QR code has just appeared here. That's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. And that is where you will find the Eager Beaver Lodge's Emergency Hydration Fund. And I have to make sure that there's something in the cup here because I don't want to skippy myself, where every day we work to fight the scourge that is dry beaver. Yum, 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 yum. So kids and cubs. So that's when I'm going fuzzy. It's when I'm doing the cheers thing. I just saw it happen. So kids and cubs, if you do like our content, it resonates with you, and you would like to help and encourage us to do more, a couple of loonies or toonies dropped into our tip jar at the Beaver Lodge. Make sure that we can do that, and we are thankful and grateful for all of your support. Thank you so much for everything that you do to keep us going. If it weren't for you, we still would not be doing this. You are wonderful in your support, and we are so happy that we produce a product that does indeed resonate with you enough that makes you want to part with your hard-earned money to help us being able to continue to do what we do to help us make our dreams come true. So thank you for that. We are very, very grateful to you. Now, kids and cubs, if you're doing the Buy Canadian thing and want to donate to us, but want to bypass the US CE Tech Bros who take a portion of the money and then donate some of it to Donald Trump for some reason, well, you can do that by going to truenortheagerbeaver at gmail. Let's try that again. truenortheagerbeaver at gmail.com, which is our email address. And you can send us a direct bank transfer. It's bank to bank from Canada to Canada, so your transactions entirely Canadian. None of it goes to the US CE Tech Bros, and we get 100% of your donation. So your donation goes farther. It's a win-win-win situation. And we thank you for your help on that front as well. Because democracy is something that you do, remember there's an election going on in Newfoundland and Labrador. Friends don't let friends do democracy alone. So find out about your candidates and make sure that you plan your vote. Volunteer at your local polling station if you can as well. That is always helpful. Actually, it's not so much volunteer because those are paid positions, but it's still, sign up to put your name up. It's a really great experience, and it fills you with warmth and a nice glow when you do it. I've tried it once. It's a lot of fun. All right, kids and cubs, forever-canadian.ca. If you are in Alberta and want to keep Alberta in Canada, you can become a canvasser. You can find out where the pop-up signing locations are because you have to sign in front of someone. That's the rules. You can make a donation to the organization to help fund its activities in getting those signatures. And it seems that there are 2 signature drives. There's one that will end at some time, I think near the 20th of September, and another one that will start in October. So there might be a couple of days off in between. We are still trying to get Thomas Lukasik to find a time for him to come on our show and talk to us about the initiative. But please do support it because that will get a question, a Citizens Initiative ballot question about keeping Alberta within Canada. And that is very important, kids and cubs. Also, remember the great petition 6679. Go to ourcommons.ca and look for petition E6679. It's a petition that seeks to create consequences for MPs who inject knowingly in bad faith disinformation or misinformation into our political process, and would make them liable for disqualification if they are found guilty of deliberate deception through an independent judicial process. So we definitely, if we want to clean up our politics, that's something we definitely need to do. We are now at 22,449 signatures, so that might be about 1,000 signatures more since the show yesterday, which is great. Let's keep it growing. We've got till November 27th to make this baby grow. And let's see if we can get as close to 100,000 as we can here. And I'm going to once again, put the link in the chat. If you have not signed yet, kids and cubs, please click the link. Go there. It only takes a couple of minutes. And whatever party you support, whether you think you're a conservative voter and you think the Liberals lie all the time, you're a Liberal voter, you think the Conservatives lie all the time, or you're an NDP voter and you think everybody but you guys lie all the time. Because the bill is to apply equally to all MPs in Parliament. So if you want more honesty in your politics, no matter what side you sit on, then please go and sign that petition, especially if you want there to be consequences for those who go out of their way to inject fentanyl into our political discourse. All right, there we go. I think that's everything I got on that front. Words of wisdom, kids and cubs. Ice is very good when you're sore. Yeah, it's not deep wisdom. Yesterday, after having biked places and walked places and played tennis and played volleyball and practiced some of the dancing on my own time for the show. That was a lot of work on my foot. And yesterday, sometime during volleyball, actually, I was limping a little bit because some of the muscles had seized up and back, and I came home and applied ice to it as I should. And this morning, I am feeling like $1,000,000. So yeah, ice is your friend. Used strategically, ice is your friend. That's the extent of my wisdom today. It's not particularly deep. That's all I got for you. It could be a tough world out there, kids and cubs. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And now at the count of 3, if I may have all you wonderful people with your gorgeous, melodic voices say, Mr. Beaver, please cue the cock on 1, 2, 3. Oh, you kits and cubs are wonderful as always, as your humble servant. How can I resist you? I just can't. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. All right, kits and cubs, a little bit of news of Canadians who make us proud. If you are into parasport, there's a lot going on that you should be paying attention to. The 2025 World Para Swimming Championships are underway in Singapore, and Team Canada already bringing back some hardware. And over the course of the week, hopefully we'll be able to share more about the success of our Canadian athletes in the pool. Also, started 2 days ago, the 2025 World Archery Para Championships are happening in Gwangju, South Korea. So congratulations to the Canadians that are there, wishing them good luck. Starting today to the 24th in Waterloo, Ontario, the GSOC Wheelchair Curling Invitational will be taking place. And then starting on the 27th until the 5th in New Delhi, the 2025 World Para Athletics Championships will be taking place. So there is a lot to cheer for over the next couple of weeks. Well, this week, I should say, if we are cheering on our Canadian athletes who do work so hard to make us proud. Also, if you didn't notice, this is not a Canadians who make us proud, but it's just a little thing that I noted. The price of gold hit a record high yet again yesterday because everything's fine. Everything's just fine. Also, in the Canadians who make us proud, if you remember the name Dee Dee Petty, talk show host, who had her own talk show for a while that was very popular. Well, she says at 80 years old, I'm back. Trailblazing talks with Dee Dee Petty. The 1-hour special airs across Canada and on Canadian Thanksgiving Monday, October 13th at 9 p.m. Follow along for the weeks of press leading up to the launch of the show. Where to watch and details are in the original release. It seems that she is coming back to the airwaves with, it looks like, making a comeback. So according to the press release here, the 1-hour special will feature actor-producer Tanya Williams, who recently received a star on the Canada Walk of Fame, and you might remember her from The Young and the Restless, and Senator Marnie McBean, also Olympic champion in rowing, 3-time Olympic gold medalist. But yeah, it says here the 1-hour television event will air Monday, October 13th at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Newsform Network and on the newsform.ca. And there you'll be able to watch it. It says it's not just a television special, but a bold invitation to rethink what's possible. And so, yeah, looks like right now that it will be a one-show thing. But she is returning to television, which is nice for those who have missed her. And finally, Canadian tennis players or women tennis players are well, actually, both the men and women are going to Asia for the Asian swing. Victoria Umboko will be back on the courts for the first time since the U.S. Open. Leila Annie Fernandez will be there, and Bianca Andreescu, who seems to be back from the injury that she suffered at the Canadian Open, are heading to China for the second to last WTA 1000. I think Gabriela Dabrowski will be there in doubles, but she probably won't be playing with her partner, Aaron Routliffe, because I think she is going to a friend's wedding. On the men's side, Denis Shapovalov and Gabriel Diallo will be in action at an event in Tokyo, and we have to give our congratulations as well to Denis Shapovalov, because it seems that Felix Auger-Aliassime is not the only one who got married over the past few days, but it seems that Denis Shapovalov did as well, married Miriam Bjorklund earlier this month, and they got married in Greece. So yeah, Denis Shapovalov and Felix Auger-Aliassime, childhood friends, are frequent doubles partners, particularly in their junior careers, but sometimes a little bit now and then and at the pro level. Both of them getting married pretty much on the same weekend. So we love love. We love love. So we celebrated, hoping many years of a happy marriage to both couples. All right. That's all I got for you today, kids and cubs. Like magic, I am gone. Amour et bisous. And we will see you tomorrow.